Welcome back to the Battery Podcast. I'm Aidan,
And I'm Casey.
and we are coming to you a little bit haphazardly, a little bit Frankenstein together. Casey, we did talk to a member of the California Republic in preview of the Cannons matchup against the Redwoods this weekend. Casey wasn't able to be in for that, but then Jack wasn't able to be on for the intro because we did record these a little out of order, Star Wars style, if you will. Um, So we glad we could get everyone on the pod though still. But before we
Yes.
talk about the Redwoods in San Diego this weekend, pretty big piece of news coming out of the Cannons. I wouldn't say entirely unexpected, but still a surprise that it happened, or surprised
hmm
to see it like definitely finalized. Asher Nolting's tenure as a Boston Cannon is done after one disappointing game and then 3 games on the or off the protected roster. He is released. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, what were your thoughts when you and your initial reaction when you read that update from the team?
I mean, I know as much as like we can say it's like not a complete surprise, it still kind of felt like a little bit of a gut punch,
Yeah,
right? When it was officially announced. Um, it's a it's a bummer. Like I just think, going back only a couple years ago, we would have never
yeah.
thought
He was an
that
MVP
this day,
finalist.
right?
Yeah,
So it's one of those situations where I wish that I was in a position where I could know so much more about what's going on behind the scenes
yeah,
because I'm just like, how did we get here? I know why we're here, but how did we get here?
yeah.
Last season, we talked about, some struggles that he was having, and then this season he only plays one game and that's it.
I know. And I mean, obviously it was a disappointing game, and then Brian Kelly comes in
Right.
and gives you more than you could even hope for
Right.
in his first career game. But like since then, he hasn't been that great. I thought particularly on Long Island, he did not
hmm
really like he did not wow me. I'm pulling up the stats from that game now. I want to say he had 2 points, if that. Um, where are we? Brian Kelly. Oh, one. He had one assist against the Atlas. And I remember, similar to Asher Nolting, looked like hesitant to go to the goal. Pulling up, I mean, obviously that Cannons Water Dogs game, the second one we want to forget, but I'm trying to pull that up quickly here as well. Um, no points in that game, which you can't have from your ex-attackman. You can't have no points in a game pretty much ever unless he gets hurt and
Right.
then someone else has to come in to replace him. So
Right.
that
And that's
makes
the
me think,
thing. There's no injury.
right.
So go
Yeah.
ahead. I didn't mean
I-
to cut you off.
No, no, no. It makes you think that it's more than just performance. I mean, I know
hmm
Coach Holman said to us that he wanted to like he felt he was too slow to make decisions last year, and certainly pulling that trigger after one game and putting Brian Kelly in, I think was encouraging, just in that he wasn't gonna let that kind of slide, and that he was gonna make a change he felt he needed to make, but with Brian Kelly having 1 point across his last 2 games. Like I didn't count how many turnovers he had, but like could it have been 3 turnovers for Brian Kelly against the Water Dogs? So like, would Asher Nolting be worse? Like, would it be worth trying him again? And if it's not worth trying, like, what does that say about you know
Yeah.
how he was like? We don't know this. Like, I think it is absolutely a dream of mine to be on like one of these Zoom calls that the teams have every week during the week and just kind
Yeah.
of see the vibe there, or be at a practice. Um, so you wonder like what's going on there. Um,
Yeah. I know. I mean, I would have liked to have seen him go in for at least one more time before he got released. Um, Maybe one day you and I will find out offline
yeah,
what more about what happened, but I also know just from our perspective with talking to coach, with talking to Asher, with talking to different people on the team over the years, it seems like they had a very good bond. And so, unless something happened and to break that bond, I could definitely see where they had maybe a number of serious conversations about his future with the team, um, and in general. So, because that's how coach is, right? Like he approaches things holistically. Um, so I'm sure that they had conversations like that.
Yeah.
I just wish that we got to know a little bit more.
Yeah. And maybe one other little angle or bit of information we could talk about before we move on is the end of 2024, right? Pat Kavanaugh isn't happy playing midfield. He feels he deserves to play X attack. Coach Ullman says, well, we have an X attackman. If you feel you can beat about in camp, like, please do that. But for right now, we have one. He doesn't like that. He gets traded to the Outlaws. He's an MVP finalist last year. Man, does that not look like the right move? And I agree, like as a coach, you don't want to have your players dictate where they play and feel like, like it's the coach's job to decide that type of stuff. But
Yeah.
hindsight, in 2025, feels like Pat Kavanaugh would have outplayed Asher Nolting for that X attack spot. And how much of a difference would he have made on this offense last year and this year?
Yeah, I completely agree. It's definitely a hindsight is 2020 kind of situation, I think, because yeah, at the time we did have our guy. And so Pat Cab didn't play and very much. And but the thing is, like, I think then for like coming in as a rookie, and I don't know him personally, right? I'll just preface with that, but coming in as a rookie and then wanting to dictate, like it gave a little bit of arrogance, and
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I'm like, I mean, you're going to come in as a rookie and then think that you can either demand or you can, like, you have that space already to be like, no, I should be there. And if I'm not going to, like, I want to be traded. Yes, he is a phenomenal player, right? But if hypothetically, like, if coach had said, okay, and put him in that spot, I trust that he would have done really well. But then what would that impact look like with the rest of the team?
Yeah, I think it seemed clear from what Coach told us, and because I think he was very candid when we asked him about it, that it kind of severed the relationship,
Right,
and it was just not the type of the type of personality that Coach wanted on the team, and
right.
I totally understand that, right? Like,
Yeah.
I think we can all name like an athlete who we think is very talented but not a good person, and not someone that we would want on our team. Uh,
Yes.
and not to
Yes.
put Pat Kavanaugh in the same category as any of them necessarily, uh, because he's
Yeah.
also fairly young, and we would hope in the 2 years since this has gone down that he's grown some. Um,
Yeah.
uh,
Well, I think
but
he got on the right team that he was supposed to. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, when it comes down to it, like, I want to win. I
yep,
want the boys to win. I am tired of seeing us at the bottom.
yeah,
And yeah, so I mean, it definitely sucks. It's very bittersweet. Asher, we are big fans of yours. We love you. Thank you so much for everything that you have done to, support us and build a rapport with us. He's definitely always been really great with us, and he knows how much we appreciate him.
yep,
Um, but now we have to move forward, and I want to see some changes happen that are aggressive and strategic and put us in the direction of friggin' winning. Like, I don't want to be out of Champ Series again
yeah,
next year
and out of the playoffs again. Like,
and out of the play. Right.
yeah,
Like, Right. But
I'll
I'm
take no
just
champ series if the Cannons win at least one playoff game. Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. Uh,
But yeah.
yeah, I agree. I think this team's going to need some changes. I don't quite know what those are. Maybe All-Star game is a good point to look at those because
Hmm.
that's coming up next week. Um, but slowly switching gears into talking about the Redwoods, they also had a very interesting signing uh, today as we're
Yeah.
recording this. Um,
What is this real? Like, is it? I
I
really thought
know.
it was a joke
I
when
thought so
Jack
too.
sent that in the chat.
But I mean, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it myself from the team account. So Kyle Hartzell, who played his last year in 2023 for the Boston Cannons, and then 2024 was the defensive coordinator for the Cannons. And Coach Holman said, seemed pretty clear that was a 1 year commitment. You know, he's a new dad. He's moved out coaching club in Utah. Uh, he signs as a player to come back and play LSM for the California Redwoods. Um, and I know, you know, they've had some defensive injuries, right? So Cole Kastner played 1 game, and then was put on the PUP list or IR. Chris Fake is on, I forget if it's PUP list or IR. I mean, basically the same thing. Like they're going to be injured for a long amount of time. And Arden Cohen as well, who I genuinely thought that he'd gotten like healthy scratched. It seems like maybe he's got some injuries because I believe he's on the PUP list as well. And that's basically like who their starting defense would have been. You know, Chris Conlon is
Mm.
in there, and he's kind of like a flex. Maybe he would have played LSM. Maybe one of those other guys would have. But I would say between Castner, Fake, and Cohen, like that's a starting trio that every team would be happy with. So, you know, they bump BJ Farrar down there. Who else is on the roster this weekend? It's
For
um
LSM,
yeah, because I noticed they only had two guys
Jared
listed as
Connors.
yes, Jared Connors and is it Matt Wright?
It just says Jared Connors and BJ Farrar.
Okay, maybe they did just maybe it was
Matt
just
Wright is listed for defense.
okay, yeah. So they listed it differently on the app. But so you have Matt Wright, who made his PLL debut last week, and then you have Cullen Brown, who's a rookie drafted this year, who apparently Anthony Kelly was very high on. And then you have Chris Conlon, like I mentioned. So it's a young trio that hopefully the Cannons can take advantage of. But Hartzell is on the protected roster,
Yeah, I
so
see.
2 games
Wow,
in
he's
two
on there, huh?
days. I know you. It feels like depending on the matchup, like who they, you know, BJ Farrar's already bumped down to close D once, that maybe like I mean if he I'll say if he, you know, he signed the contract, if he doesn't play at all, I'll be disappointed. Um,
Right, like why, what was the whole point of this if he
right.
doesn't?
I mean like Brian Kelly last year, right? Or Carter
True.
Parlett.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, we won't see him tomorrow. Could
no.
we maybe see him Sunday?
I mean, it feels like he's on the protected roster. I think the homecoming team, they usually will make at least one substitution. I don't remember off the top of my head who
Hmm.
the other guy is. Is it
That's
Dennis?
protected.
Yeah.
It's Josh Bulkersell.
Oh, Balkersell. Okay. So that feels like, you know, depending on, honestly, I would kind of be excited for him to come in for Ryder Garnsey the second night. Um,
Yeah. I want to see him. I mean, we, even though he's not a canon, we do personally like Josh Bulkersell,
yeah,
and we
everyone
love
does.
his dad.
Yeah. So
His
it
dad
feels
is
like
a good friend of the podcast.
he is, yes. Edwin Balkersell is definitely a friend of the pod. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think you don't put him on the protected roster if you're not comfortable putting him in the game, right?
Right.
Um, obviously he's been staying fit. You know, you gotta assume he was staying ready, so he didn't have to get ready. I had no idea that this was in the cards for him. Because
Wasn't on
we
my
both
bingo.
listen. Yeah, we both listened to the podcast he does with Scott Ratliff. Um, an episode came out either yesterday or today. I don't remember exactly when, but that was not mentioned. Even the possibility that he was looking to play or anything about that.
It's interesting because aren't like him and Manny and Marcus, they're like all best friends.
I think, I mean, I know Manny did play with him on the Lizards.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think anyone who's played in the league for as long as the three of them have, I think you wind up just getting to know those guys really well.
Hmm.
I know. I mean, I know they were very close friends with Gittleman, but yeah, like I
Yeah,
think there's just a very good cohort of the people who, you played 10 plus years in pro lacrosse. It's a pretty small world of
yeah,
guys who, not saying you have to like all of those guys, but because I'm sure they don't.
yeah, right.
Uh,
Hmm.
yeah, uh, that's a more interesting story than Asher Nolting being released. I think for sure it was more unexpected, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Hmm.
this it definitely confirms, or I've been saying like I wonder what the PLL is going to do about all the Asher Nolting jerseys they were trying to sell in the tents, the merch tents at all these
Put
weekends.
them on sale and I will buy it.
Yeah, yeah, oh, I'm sure, and yeah, we'll see how soon they get a Hartzell. And I know, I think if Connor Camille's still on the roster, he was wearing 81. So I wonder if Hartzell's going to pick a different number, or
Mm.
if Camille will give that up and he'll have to take a new one. Um, yeah, I think anything else before we headed over to the interview? I know this is a much longer intro segment than we normally do, but there were some big stories that came out this week.
Mm, I don't think so. I
All
think
right.
those were like the two biggest things.
Yeah.
Um, yeah.
All right. Then with that, we will turn it over to our conversation between me and Jack and Jared from the California Republic. And welcome to Jared from California Republic, the supporter group for the Redwoods, for coming on and previewing this homecoming matchup for the Woods and the Cannons in San Diego this weekend. So, Jared, thanks for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I'm really excited about it.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe we could just start with a quick introduction because the California supporter group went dormant for a while after it was
Did
founded and came back with you and rebranded. So, how'd you get in touch and start leading this group?
Yeah. So I was lucky enough to actually I got involved when it was still the Den and had reached out and just done some graphic design for them, especially around the draft days. So like when someone was drafted, I'd make the draft post for them. And that was about it at that point. And then I had also noticed that the Den kind of went dormant. And so once made a couple trips out to California. This is now 3 years running, coming out to San Diego and going to the games. I just kept bugging Mike as much as possible of how I could get involved. Like what can I do to be a part of the PLL, be a part of the Redwoods? And they had actually just kind of open communication with me that they were looking for someone to take over the fan supporter page. And then in addition to the Woods, they were also going to be posting about the Palms. And so that's why I didn't want to keep the name The Den anymore because it was not necessarily associated with the Palms. So based on the California flag, I just went with California Republic, which included both the Woods and the Palms.
Nice. Yeah. I think it's first of all, great logos for both teams, and
Thank
very
you.
California focused. Uh,
Yes, absolutely. They're great.
yeah, I think over the whole history of the PLL, the Woods have definitely had the best uniforms. I don't love that they've gone away from those like the wood grain in the jerseys a little bit, but
Okay.
still,
Yep.
I just think and
Yeah,
and the Palms jerseys too. The pink was such a fun choice.
it
So
is. It's
could
a
like
really cool combo.
incorporate all of that. Yeah, it looks great. So and we're certainly glad that I think now all 8 teams have an active fan supporter group again. So
Good.
we're happy to welcome you on, and
Thank you.
and what a time you picked to kind of take over this role. It's been a pretty good year for the Woods so far. I think how you feel about them.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the team this year. I think we've made a lot of positive changes. I think probably our biggest improvement that I've noticed this year is just the chemistry, like sharing the wealth with the different players. In previous years, I think our issue has been we have limited numbers of offensive power, and obviously defenses can focus on that, and then we had nowhere to go with the ball.
Yeah.
I think now we can come at a team from different angles, and it could be anyone on a different night. So that's really excited to see kind of the sharing the wealth that our team that's new for the Redwoods. That's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I mean last year was just such a turnaround for them with
Mhm.
it's hard to know who is like a bigger impact. You got to probably give the credit to Anthony Kelly for
Oh,
the
sure.
turn the culture around too, but Andrew McAdory has been such a
Mhm.
revelation. And then this year with Mikey Boehm having such a year, he's
Maggie.
like really
Yeah.
playing his way into the lineup. Um, you mentioned before we started recording, you have a Ryder Guernsey hot take for us.
Yeah.
I think maybe now's the time to hear it. Uh,
Uh-oh.
talking about moving the ball quickly, which is not necessarily a strength of his.
That's the take is that, as much as I love his style of play, he always has something creative, whether he's gonna behind the back, between the legs. He can always do something that's gonna make you say wow and be like excited about what you're seeing on the field. But in order to get that to happen, it takes time. And there's been a lot of offensive possessions that run down the shot clock to 3-2, and then you're just dumping it in the corner. I think with the three attack players that we have this year, in Bame, Cav, and Malloy, I think that's one of the better offense or better attack lines that we've seen. When we still see Ryder coming out of the box every once in a while, and maybe he can still pull out some creativity from that kind of position.
Mhm.
Um, but I think the ball moves a lot faster in the attack line that we have now, and I think that's where we saw some some issues with the offense previously. And I actually said it to some friends the other day when we were watching the game. Not this last one. I think it was the game against New York where it was we won I think by one, and we
Yeah.
were holding on in the last minute. And I mentioned if that game happened last year, we lose that game because we aren't as efficient with our offensive possessions as we are now.
Yeah. I think that's a great take, and obviously we saw like Bane played his way into the lineup. Dylan Malloy was the comeback player of the year.
Yep.
Chris Cav was the deserved rookie of the year. So, I
Yep.
mean, you can't really justify taking any three of those guys off the field or out of position. Um, yeah, I mean, the PLL can be cruel, right? Like Zed Williams cut, and
Yep.
he's basically signed it up, or hung it up rather. Dyson
Yep.
Williams immediately went and signed with the Canadian MSL team. Like,
Yep.
ninth
Joan,
man
people
roster is
thinking,
brutal.
We don't have
yeah,
Asher anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh, how did I forget that one?
Asher, yeah. And
yeah,
and people think Jones was going to make a comeback after the championship series again. He signed with Water Dogs and played a week or two and
I
no
don't even
longer
think
on the
he
roster.
did.
yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
So you're right. It is tough.
And especially like I think I said this in our last episode when it was just me and Jack. Like Garnsey has been such a fun player, but he
Hmm.
he also plays like for a small guy, especially such a physical style that
Hmm.
it does take a toll on you when that age
Yeah.
starts with a
I,
three.
I have, yeah, I have a buddy who's a big Chaos fan, and when those games are about to start up, we're like, oh man, like is Ryder really gonna try and back down Jared Newman? Like, so I know that's Ryder's game, but he's the last guy you want to do it against.
Yeah. Newman can just basically just pick him up and move him back 5 yards
He
further
really
away from
could,
the
yeah,
goal.
yeah, yeah,
Um, yeah, I think I mean we've talked about the offensive side of the ball a little bit.
okay,
Um, granted, the Utah offense was struggling for a few weeks, so maybe 14 is not exactly the total you like to see, but they did have
sure,
some new faces in there. How do you feel about? I mean, Cullen Brown had a fantastic debut against New York, I
yep,
think. Matt Wright made his PLL debut.
yep,
Uh, it seems like because I was just looking up the injury report there. Chris Fake is on IR, so we assume he's not
fake,
going to be playing this weekend.
yep,
Kastner's on the pup list.
Casimir.
Um, yeah, how are you feeling about that unit and about bringing in Dylan Ward, who, talking of career renaissances, is also having a little bit of a comeback?
Yes, yes. So the defense, anytime that we can, if we bring in someone fresh and then they have a debut and they step up, that's exactly what we need at this point with Fake and Kastner not available. So that's huge that we can rely on these people, some of these players to be ready when their name is called upon. And those guys have done that. So we're really appreciative of that. And then Ward is I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Ward. He's a huge guy. He fits great with our defense. Especially good Matt. And if Kastner being what 6'7", if he is out on the field and you've got
Yeah.
to go between Kastner and Ward to get a goal, like that's crazy. Um, Ward's been great, and I love hearing how different his style of playing defense is, where he pushes out on the crease. You don't
Mhm.
see that a lot in field. So I think if you looked back at previous seasons, I think that's another opportunity that we had for improvement in
Mhm.
goalie. And it's a numbers game, right? If you find someone that's going to give you a higher save percentage, why not? So
Yeah.
we took the opportunity, went for it, and we've seen results. And again, and to say it again, it's another example of maybe one goal games that could go the other way in previous seasons.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we saw Chase Orland have some really good games and some not so good games. So
Sure.
yeah, who knows? All right. Well, this is a Cannons podcast, I guess. So let's talk
Yeah,
about this
that's fair.
upcoming game.
Let's do it.
Um, let's start hopefully with some positives first. What, if anything, is worrying you about this matchup? Like, where do you think if the Cannons are going to win, where does that happen?
It's Holman. Get the ball to him and just get out of his way. He's so much fun to watch, and he can hit you from anywhere. He can be inside close and catch on the crease with a quick delivery and get you a quick one, or he can drop a huge like two ball shot and get you 2 points when you really need them. I'm a huge fan of Holman and the way he plays and his ability. He also just seems like a really nice guy. I actually I actually bought I did a presentation about lacrosse at work and I bought a cameo from him. I got a cameo video from Holman. I love it. He's a great guy. Um and he's someone that can take over a game by himself. So that's I think that's where if he has a great game and you know takes advantage of some of the other players on your guys' offense to kind of move the ball and get it right back to him. If Holman has a game that I know that Holman has, it could definitely go Boston's way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we saw that the dad strength from Brian Costfield this last weekend. Let's hope if Holman can
Mhm.
find some of that himself.
And Malloy.
Well, that I
Malloy had
was
seven
just gonna
goals
Oh,
last
yeah,
say
week.
the
Malloy.
same thing. Yeah, what a performance from him last
Yeah,
week. I'm sure you had to be over the moon with that
very
outing.
excited. Love it. And again, I mean, I think that's what was again missing from our rosters previously. It was Kavanaugh and Kavanaugh was going to win the game, and if Kavanaugh was cold, then we were just in trouble. But now it could be anyone, so that's exciting.
Yeah. I think you figure on the Cannons defense, probably Owen Grant as the most physical defender
Yep.
will get that matchup, and that is going to be
That's going to be fun to
that's going to
watch.
be fun. Yeah. I see those two
Yeah.
biggest.
I'm wondering if because just last week against, Archers, Malloy was able to back down anyone they sent to him. He would just start at X, run full speed, and hit someone, and they would bounce back 5 yards, which
Yeah.
would give him the room to shoot and to take a shot. But I mean that may not be an option this week.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
I hope he
Uh,
doesn't go off for seven again.
yeah. Yeah. With
No.
no Graham Hossack, that had to have hurt the Archers last week because he definitely would have gotten that
Sure,
matchup and probably done
sure,
a little bit better
100%.
job.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
noticeable for sure.
yeah. Um, after, I don't know how closely you follow the other games, but after seeing Andrew McMeekin go 60+% against, granted against Connor Farrell and Nathan
Mm.
Liberty, are you worried about that being a factor at all?
Yeah, I mean the face-off is important. It's make it take it like you can get a run strictly off a face-off play and I love TD. He does great, but I think the face-off is, you know, maybe not the most accurate phrase, but like even any given Sunday, like a face-off guy can go out there and have a great day and swing the percentage to one team drastically. Or or they could not only win the faceoff but go down and score. The guy on the Whip Snakes a couple weeks ago had
Yeah.
multiple goals, you know. So if not only if it's winning possessions, it's getting goals, and any time you can just get that quick off the bat from a faceoff guy, it could be a huge swing as well.
Yeah, and I don't believe TD has a goal this year, but I know he's had a few in his past, and maybe he
Mhm.
was able to do that in college as well. Did
Well,
he have
yeah,
a career point?
even if TD's not scoring, just historically how much he dominates at the stripe can, especially in this matchup, that's been huge. I mean, you talk about the Redwoods have had some struggles the last few years, but California beat Boston last year and in 2024. And I was
Mm.
before this, I was just looking back. at those games, it was Redwoods won 9-7 in 2024 and 18-17 in
Yeah,
2025. So
both
that's
close games.
two close games. 2024, Redwoods won 65% of the faceoffs, and
Okay.
in 2025 it was 58%. So like
Oh,
if the
interesting.
Cannons actually, sorry Zach Tucci, but if the Cannons had someone that was a little bit more serviceable against a
Sure.
stud like TD Erlin,
Yeah,
as a Cannons fan, I think that that certainly could have gone the other way. But when you've got someone like
absolutely.
TD who is just almost automatic at the stripe, like it's an absolute game changer for you guys, especially now that you have that offense clicking like you were talking about.
Yeah. I mean, uh, if you can bring, TD's percentage down even just a couple points, that's a goal or two goals when you talk possessions, and that's a difference in both of those games that you just referenced to. So,
Yeah.
any small improvements could bring very quickly a one game loss to a one game win. And I think, you hear that all the time on the broadcasts of the parity of this league, and that's so true. When you see teams playing each other on any given week and it's one goal games, two goal games, and then they play again a couple weeks later and it could easily swing the other way.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about like the face-off percentage thing can swing things one way. Maybe Dylan Ward swings things
Yep,
back in the Woods' favor.
sure.
Um, I don't know. We talk about that 18-17 game where Ryder Garnsey broke all our hearts with that ridiculous like one-handed shot. So glad to see he's not, probably not going to be, if not in the lineup, at least not down in that role. But um,
Sure.
it's an even better offense that's working this year with Bain, Malloy, and Kavanaugh. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, I think Bane has been a huge surprise, and he caught everyone's attention in the championship series, and like you said earlier, earned a spot, rightfully so. And he's been a ton of fun to watch.
yeah, yeah. And I guess it seems like Finn Thompson's visa is not approved yet. Uh,
Mm,
who
okay.
else?
I'm very curious of how we're going to, address these midfielder spots, It's
Yeah,
I like we have more I like the middies that we have, and if we keep getting more, that means we have to get rid of someone, and I don't know who we do. Like that's tough.
yeah, it is. I think unfortunately, like maybe we talked about the league being cruel that this is the end of the line for
Yeah,
Romar Dennis, who doesn't look like the same player, when that league started.
right. I
Um,
don't I don't think he was on last week.
he was not. No, he
Yeah.
played, I want to say the first two or three, but then, now Sam
Mm,
English is back. Garnsey's
mm,
back. Garnsey's basically been playing midfield.
yeah.
Um, who else? Oh, Michael Leo graduated
Michael.
college. So I think it
Okay.
was technically the middies were Garnsey, McAdory, English, Leo, and Denenza.
Denenza, yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then Ball Crystal. So no Ball Crystal, no Dennis, no Mark.
No, but yeah, he was on the he had one of the last two emergency spots.
Yeah.
I love Josh Balkertel. Like I would love to see him play as much as he can.
Yeah, I think we all do. He was such a
Yeah.
fun story. I got to meet his dad a couple times actually down in
Okay, great.
Cherries, and then saw him in Rhode Island as well. Um, yeah, it's just really cool to talk to the parents as well, and
Sure.
see like their perspective and knowing the sport because he's also new to the sport. Like I don't know how Josh found it,
Mm,
but it's that just that love of a parent who just wants the best for their kid. Um,
absolutely.
yeah, it's really cool. And I don't know, we didn't ask whose name is on the back of that jersey that you're wearing now.
It's a Garnsey.
Okay, yeah, that
All
tracks.
right.
It's a Garnsey. Yep, yep. Classic.
Yep.
Had to get the original when it came out. So always be sporting this one. Um, I like the new ones. It's the small gripe, but I had to throw it out there. It was the Dude Wipes ad at the bottom that I could pass on. So so I haven't got a new one yet this year, but I do love the redesign. I think they did great.
Yeah, I mean, at least they didn't put it on the shorts, right?
But
Yeah,
yes, it could have been worse. You're right.
it definitely could have. I mean, Major League Rugby is
Yep.
doing that. That
Oh, is it?
they've got dude wipes on the butts
Oh
of those.
no.
Well, and also I don't remember this from maybe it's because there haven't been a lot of twos, I guess, for the Cannons, but that Brian Costabile two pointer on
Hmm.
Friday, the broadcast, they said it was a dude wipes two
Yep.
pointer, and
Yep.
I that was the first time I noticed it this year, and I was like, come on, like I
I mean
know
that
the league needs the money, so like I get it, but like, and
it's
the
it's
connection's kind of funny, but like,
Yeah.
it's great marketing, and if a large fan base of the league and of the sport right now sure is that youth, that boy youth age, and I'm sure they love
I'm
it.
sure they do. Yeah,
Absolutely. Um,
yeah. You get a packet of dude wipes in every single merch
Yeah, the
order
little
from the
mini
all
ones. Yep.
store. Like, I've got a
So funny.
stack of them
yeah.
in my bathroom because I'm like, what am I gonna do with these?
Yeah, that's great. That's so funny.
But, anyways, turning the attention back to the game, it's
Yeah.
don't love saying this, but obviously we gotta play both sides here. So you gave us some flowers, Cannons, what scared you, but what going into this matchup has you feeling confident? Is it what you already talked about, just the way that the
Yeah.
offense is moving the ball? Is it TD Erlin? Is there anything else that like really just makes you think this is why the Redwoods are gonna win?
Yeah, it's I mean obviously McAdory deserves all the praise. Um and that's not to be overlooked, but it's the bookends of the fields. It's Ward and it's the attack line. Um, you know, transition's great, and maybe that's where, guys like McAdory and Leo can stand out and really be dangerous. But like you guys were saying, if TD wins, and the defense is back, get someone coming out of the box, get it down to X, and just get the ball to Malloy and Cav and Bame, and if one of them aren't gonna score, they're gonna be able to move the ball to someone that will. So I'm that's where a lot of my confidence lies in that attack line, and especially after the week that Malloy had. Um, I hope it's not a 1 week wonder, or that it just shifts to someone else and someone else goes off, And I think, like I said earlier, that's new for our team. It's either been, Cav goes off or no one does. But I think this year we have the opportunity that it could be someone different every week, and that's tough to play defense against because you can't come up with a plan to lock off one person. Uh, it gives the opportunity for anyone to step up and be dangerous.
Yeah, totally. I mean, to second what you're saying, I think the way that the Redwoods have been able to pass the ball this year, I think they're going to have the defense spinning around and looking like the weekend in that meme from the Super Bowl halftime show that he did.
Oh no.
Like I think there's going to be like and similar to the whip snakes, right? Where they're just looking around and like, oh my God, how's that guy open right in front of the crease? Like just but I don't know who it's going to be. Like you said, like it could be, I guess probably not
Right.
going to be Malloy cutting through like that, but he'll have the opportunities to back someone down if he gets slid to a short stick.
Right.
He'll feed whether it's whoever winds up being in the lineup, if it's those
Yeah,
five
wherever the
listed
slide came
earlier
from.
that were in there last week or Balkersell or Wertheim or Dennis comes back in, like, and then that maybe opens up the opportunity for two as well. Because we're talking about how well Colin Curse has done saving those in his career, but
Sure.
since the middle of last year, it has not been as crisp. So
Yeah.
we'll
Well,
see.
let me ask you guys the same thing. You guys have been very, very generous and positive about how the Redwoods have been performing this year. But what has you excited and confident about the Cannons this week?
Not much, but
Okay. Well, I appreciate the honesty, but I don't want to see my concern is that everyone's talking about how great we are and then we
for
go down
sure.
and lose this weekend. So I don't want
Yeah.
that.
Oh no,
I want
Fair
something I
enough.
could at least see that they called it. The battery said that these guys were going to get it done for the Cannons.
I got some things. So one of them is at some point last season, Scott Ratliff said on the podcast he does that there is such great parity in the league that a lot of
Yep.
times it seems like the team that wins is the team that needs it more. And I think you could
Okay.
make the argument the last two games, the Water Dogs needed to win more than Boston, and New York needed to win more than Boston.
Sure.
Boston definitely needs it more.
Okay.
There's also, there's been that trend of teams losing night one of the homecoming and then winning night two.
Mm. Mm.
I don't think there's much to stock to put in that, obviously, because we've seen two teams win both now as well.
Okay.
But like if Boston loses this, and then I don't remember all the other matchups, but like assuming New York, Boston, or New York, Philly, and Maryland aren't all playing Western Conference teams, but like
Hmm.
especially if New York and Philly win, if they're not playing each other, let me just quickly pull up the schedule.
They can't. Well,
They're
they're
not.
definitely playing someone in
No.
the East because the second game is Woods Chaos, so they've got to
Okay.
be playing.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
then someone's off.
Whips are playing the Outlaws, and
The Water Dogs are
Okay,
playing
so
the
Dawson
then,
Archers,
playing
and the
the
Atlas are off.
Archers. Atlas
Yeah.
are off.
Okay.
Yeah.
So like if the Water Dogs win, then the Cannons are in a really tough position. And obviously they
yeah.
can't control that. But like if the Dogs win and the Cannons lose, really regardless, if the Cannons lose and they go to 1-6,
One
Mm.
and five.
1-5, yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Um, still. So I think there's that desperation where they know they need it. Um, hopefully that doesn't necessarily make them better
Enough.
lacrosse players, but at least it gives them, hopefully that extra 5% or whatever that you need. Um,
Yep.
we've only seen positive things from McMeekin, so if he's able,
Yep.
I don't think to go 60%, but if he's able to go 50 or 45, um, and probably more importantly, like the last, basically the whole time that Tucci was playing, I never really went into a face-off thinking the Cannons were going to win.
Mm.
He can at least give us and give the team that feeling. I think that will count for a lot. Like if the Cannons are down or it's tied with a minute and a half to go, and they can be like, all right, we're gonna win this face-off, we're gonna score.
Yeah.
Not have to be like, all right, well, here's the plan for when we lose the face-off. I think that can count for a
Mm.
lot.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I absolutely that makes sense. You know, it gets to a point that everyone's professional. I mean, I think it's yeah, everyone's a professional player here. They want to play well, they want to win, they want to represent their team and their fans. And if you have a tough couple of games, like that's definitely huge motivation. It doesn't matter who's on the other side of the field. You're going to play with more urgency and more adrenaline and try and get it done. So that it could definitely be that, you know, I wouldn't want the Woods to come in or what's the term a sleeper game or whatever it may be, right? Like Woods
Trap
are
game.
thinking, hey, we're 3-1, 4-1, we're at home, whatever. Yeah, definitely don't want that to happen, but it absolutely could. There's no reason that it couldn't on any given Saturday.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And just going off of that last point that you made, Aiden, about the face-off, that's definitely the biggest boost for me, which is a shock
Mm.
as a Cannons fan. The fact that I like you said, it feels weird to have some confidence at the face-off, but like I was saying earlier, just how close those last two losses were to the Woods,
Mhm.
given the face-off disparity, that yeah, I'm not
Mm.
expecting McMeekin to go 50%. I think Erlin is going to win the majority of the face-offs.
Yep.
But if it's not 65 or 60%, if McMeekin's, 45% and Erlin's only 55%,
Sure.
like you said, that steals a couple of possessions for Boston. And I could totally see that swinging the other way then.
Yep.
But, we'll see what happens.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think I'll just throw one more thing. We did sing the praises of
Yeah.
the defense coming in earlier, but hopefully, if we believe that the Cannons have a little bit more offensive firepower than the Archers, which through
Hmm.
what, 5 games they do, I think. Although this last couple games might have bumped their average up a little bit. I
Sure.
think especially in unsettled situations, if the Cannons are able to kind of get them uncertain about what their responsibilities are and roles are,
Yep.
I think that gives the opportunity for some transition goals, especially with how far out Dylan Ward likes to play. Where if he's
Yeah.
at the top of the crease and you throw it across the crease, well then
Throw it
he
across. Yeah.
he had that one miracle save, but it was a miracle for a
Mm.
reason. That it's hopefully not going to happen every
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, the thing that concerns me about the Woods is they're very streaky. They'll
Mhm.
in within a singular game,
Yeah.
they'll go on a 6-0 run and then not score for 20 minutes.
Yeah, and
Um,
TD's been streaky on the face-off as well. I know he
mhm.
was like under 50% for a lot of time against the Outlaws, and then he wound up winning like the last 5 or 6 in a row, I think.
Got it. Push it back.
Yeah.
Got it. I will, you're talking about um it being must wins, and mathematically it may not be, but if there are any Redwoods players listening, it is because last year we went 0-2 in San Diego. So that needs to change.
Yeah,
Maybe these guys are hoping that we'll go or we'll go 1-1 and we beat the chaos. But
I
I
mean,
do not want to leave
certainly
that
what we're
stadium
hoping
0-2
for.
again.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I actually do want to talk about that. You know, the Cannons have now had two games so far this year against home teams, and specifically it
Mm,
was on their first night of
okay.
the homecoming, and they lost both. They lost to the Whips in Baltimore, and then obviously last weekend lost to the Atlas out on Long Island. So
Hmm.
now another cross country
Oh, I see
flight
what you're
heading
saying.
out to
That's tough.
San Diego.
Hmm.
Got the Woods at home. You've been you're the leader of the supporter group out there. Obviously, you've been to the games in San Diego. How
Hmm.
much of a role do you think that that home crowd is going to play in this matchup, especially with how good a season the Redwoods have had? How much do you
Yeah.
think that Redwoods fan base locally will help out the team and give them a boost?
Yeah, I really hope they do. It's so much fun being there. It's a beautiful stadium. Obviously, it's a beautiful environment. It's a great um just a great experience overall. And the players, the time that I've got to hang out with them after the games and chat with them, they really appreciate us being out there. So the more the merrier. We want to be out there and be loud and be, rambunctious, and it's always a good time. And I really enjoy being at that stadium and being with those fans and the players. So, um, if we can get anyone to come on out and support us, we love it. The more the merrier. I'm really excited to get down there this weekend. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we can say this regardless of what team you're supporting, go in person if you're a fan of lacrosse or the PLL at
Yes.
all. It'll be a
Yep.
good time. I mean, I guess if you're a New York Atlas fan specifically, they're not playing, but even the Charging are playing. So there's
There you
really
go.
not to go.
Yeah, every
Looking
city's got a
Um,
forward.
team
yep.
this weekend.
Which, very excited for that too. Very excited to see the Palms. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Because they look, I mean, they were so fun in Champ Series, just moving the
Mm,
ball so fast up and down in transition. Obviously, they can't do it as fast in the field
sure.
format, but
Yep.
and that game they had against the Charm, their first game was also incredible.
Yeah.
It was what goals?
Yeah. Well, that was week one, and already all the taglines were game of the season.
Yeah, like 'cause it was the Palms tied it up with like 50 to go, and then
Yep.
I think the Charm took the lead with like 20 to go, and then the Palms tied it up with 4 to go, and then
Yeah.
obviously they lose in overtime.
Overtime. Yeah.
Yeah, I could not believe it. So I hope we're in for a similar thing. I would definitely be, talking about what you should be scared of, a little bit of scared of Madison Doucette in goal
Yeah.
for Northern, but it's gonna be an amazing game. And
Yep.
Jack, just to close off with your final point, so the Cannons are the first night of the homecoming, but
Hmm.
it's a day later. It's on a Saturday, not a Friday.
It's
So
It
true.
maybe
is.
it'll have that second day homecoming vibes, which again I know it wasn't a
I see what you're saying.
when
I
they
see what you're
beat
saying. The
when they beat
calendar
the
day. I gotcha.
yep, when they beat the Water Dogs 19-5. Maybe it'll carry some of that energy.
Nice.
We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah, one more thing also that I just want to ask you about, Jared. You said earlier on about how much credit Anthony Kelly deserves for
Hmm.
reshaping the culture, but he's not the guy that reshaped the roster. That
I
is
know where we're going with this.
Trader Joe.
Yes, sir.
How hard were you pulling for that draft day trade to
For
move up
Slovenia.
and get Joey?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I play in a league out here, and one of my buddies, Mark, who is also a huge Redwoods fan, he's originally from the Syracuse area, so he's a huge Orange
Okay.
fan,
Yeah.
and he was pulling so hard. And I'll be 100% honest. I was thinking like because I'll say I wasn't familiar with his college game maybe as much as my buddy Mark and some other guys were familiar with, and I was like, is he really that guy? Like, because I had talked about earlier that we are already pretty deep at attack. Like, can he play midfield? Is that someone that we go for? And I think what I learned, even though we didn't go and get him, I learned about kind of like the back end and Joe Spalina talked about the effort that he put in to go get him. And I think that speaks a lot to his skill. And then obviously now seeing him on the field with what he's been able to do with Maryland is incredible. So sure, that would have been great to get him. I would have loved that. And all kudos to him. I love his game. He's fun to watch. He would have looked great in green. But who knows? Maybe there's still a trade in the works. If anyone's gonna do it, it's Joe. So
That's true.
Yeah. And
maybe just
worst case
not this year.
scenario, that rookie contract expires at the end of 2028, and
Perfect.
it, no one can make him sign back with Maryland if he wants to play for dad or
That's
uh,
true.
I forget who it was. I think it was Jackson, who's a Utah fan, but he had the
Mm,
conspiracy theory that by the time his contract's over, the New York Lizards will be back, and so
okay.
both Spalinas will
Oh,
go. So father will be the GM, and then
Mm,
Joey will be either
another,
expansion draft or just sign with them as a free agent.
honestly,
yeah,
that would be
either
exciting.
It would
another
be.
MLL
Bring,
rebrand. Yeah.
yeah.
Or Abel comes out of retirement for 1 year.
And Pinnell goes over too.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh
Oh,
goodness.
if the Lizards come back, Pinnell is definitely going there.
Yeah.
One way or the other.
Yeah.
Geez, I don't even know how far ahead of in the all-time points leader he'd be by then.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll close with a score prediction,
Ooh.
and then we will wait to see what the the actual game turns out to be. So,
Okay.
um, Jack, do you want to start it off?
No, let's let the guests go.
All right,
Oh
all right.
no. Okay. Spotlight. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Um, historically, I know the Woods. Um, I mean, I know with this season their offense has been definitely higher scoring. But I do think just when you look at some of the other games that have just been, in the 19s and that's just not our version of lacrosse. And so I think the Woods are gonna get away with I'm gonna go 13-10 Woods.
All right.
Okay. All right. Well, Jared, Aiden knows this. Listeners know this. I'm a homer, so no matter what
Yep,
happens, we're the leader of the Cannon supporter group. It
you
feels
have
like
to.
it's my job to pick the Cannons to win.
I
So
wouldn't want it any other way.
I'm obviously going to take the Cannons. I think this feels like an offensive explosion game. Like
Interesting.
this feels like a game to me that just everyone's going to be firing. Both teams definitely in the teens. I'm honestly going to go like 17-15 Cannons. I
Okay,
think it's going to be a lot of fireworks, a few
cool.
twos sprinkled in there.
That'd be
Yeah, that'd be fun to see.
yeah, because as you mentioned, yeah, there has not been a lot for the Cannons this year. Um, I call it realism or pessimism. I think after that Atlas game, it's hard for me to pick the Cannons to win a game right now. So I am
Mm,
actually going to pick the Woods to win this. I'm gonna split the difference between you a little bit. I'm gonna go 14-11
okay,
for California, but I'm gonna hope Jack's right.
that's fair. I respect that.
Yeah. All right. Um, Thank you for joining us, Jared. Where can
Absolutely.
the any Redwoods fans who found their way to this, where can they get in touch with the California Republic?
Absolutely. Yeah, our Instagram, CA_Republic Lacrosse. So we're on Instagram and X, Twitter. I try and be uh, active as possible. DM, would love to have a conversation. If you are in Southern California, San Diego, if you're in neighboring states, I have friends driving out from Arizona. Please come out this weekend. We'd love to have you guys. Speaking of Arizona, shout out Coed Lacrosse, Arizona. Love you guys. But please, yeah, come out, check out a great game. It's going to be a great weekend. PLL, WLL, beautiful weather. Have to
Yep.
give this a little shot for you guys. Please come on out, hang out with us. We'd love to have you.
Yeah. All right, Jared. Thank you very much for joining us.
Absolutely. Thank you guys.
And thanks to Jared for hopping on there, chatting with us for a little bit. That was fun.
Yeah.
He's a good dude, for first time really talking to him, meeting him, and he's a great guy. And yeah, it's awesome having some representation back out in California.
Yeah, yeah, and for anyone who was listening to this audio only, at the end there, he did show us the background of the beautiful, sunny, cloudless neighborhood
Oh,
that he
palm trees.
yeah,
Yeah.
palm trees and sunshine, and nothing else. Is I think the ocean was in the background. Um, yeah,
Meanwhile, we're recording here. It's dark and dreary. It's been raining all afternoon, and I believe it's going to rain until 9 p.m. tomorrow.
yeah,
So that's just wonderful.
something to look
But
forward.
hey, you know what? I'll take rain on Monday, Tuesday if it means we have sunshine Saturday, Sunday.
Absolutely, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I mean, great conversation with him to talk about just coming into like, being a fan of the Woods. And then when they get that location and just the changes they've gone through in the last couple of years, like it feels pretty similar, right, to when Coach Holman took over, right? Like the 2021 and
Hmm
22, the Cannons were not good, like barely squeaked into the playoffs. They get 21 and then missed it in 22, and
Yep.
then Coach Holman comes over. Obviously brings in Marcus as well, and Jeff Trainer, I think, in addition to that, and they, turn it around, look like they are the best team in the league. Obviously, don't wind up winning the championship, but still, just the positive energy that came through with that join is pretty similar, I think, to what we're seeing with Anthony Kelly, and then obviously lucking into some pretty great draft picks as well, and Andrew McAdory and Chris Kavanaugh.
Yeah, I mean that's how it goes. It's draft and develop. They're doing that, and a little bit of luck along the way. I mean, the draft and develop, but it's pretty easy when you take Chris Kavanaugh at number 10.
Yep.
That's certainly where the luck comes in.
Man,
But
I didn't even yeah, was not even thinking that he was a second round draft pick.
yeah,
That is
insane. That
big
that that
oversight.
will always blow my mind.
Yeah, Jake Taylor got taken ahead of him. And no offense to Jake
No
Taylor.
shade,
That
but
was the pick immediately before him.
yeah, it's yeah, no, this Redwoods team that they're a good team, man. And Anthony Kelly, it seems like he's built a good culture
Yeah,
out there. And yeah, so the Cannons definitely got their work cut out for them this week.
they absolutely do. Yeah, like I said, not it's an optimistic feeling, new week, but definitely it's been a tough last couple weeks to be a Cannons fan. So we'll hope though that the Redwoods are gonna be the ones to turn it around. Um, out there in sunny California. Like we said, maybe that Saturday, first night of homecoming energy. Because that is, I think the Cannons have lost the game on a Saturday, but I know the only game they won was on a Saturday. Um,
Yeah,
yep. So let's hope that that's the key, or not, because I don't know how many games they have that are on a Saturday for the rest of the season. But um, yeah, we will be obviously we'll be tuning in to I think it's an 8 p.m. start. I'm gonna confirm that for us real quick.
8:30.
8:30. So 8:30. A little bit late on a Saturday night, but not too bad. Oh, this is the third week in a row, I believe the Cannons are Saturday night lacrosse.
That is correct.
Yeah. So all right, well,
Yeah.
hope that vibe
Well,
doesn't
no,
carry.
no, no, no. They played Friday night
Oh,
last
that's right.
week.
That's right. Sorry, I think I just
But
watched
they
all the games, like
but
confused.
they did have Saturday night lacrosse against the Woods in or not against the Woods, against the Water Dogs back in Rhode Island. So this is
Yep.
game 6 for the Cannons, and it is their third time on Saturday night lacrosse, and it's also their third Saturday game. So whenever the Cannons play on Saturday, that's prime time viewing.
Absolutely, it is. Well, let's hope they give it that performance. That 17-15 that you predicted, that would be quite something to get to witness.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll be crossing our fingers
Manifesting
for
it.
that. Yeah, let's hope if Jack Regnery can get his feet under him, he can get a little bit more than 1 out of 10 shots in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And we will be back the following Monday to recap that game for you, whatever the result. But until then, go Cannons, go Guard.
Go Cannons, go Guard.
Boom.
Boom.